freedom is understanding that you are the one in control of money and not all the way around. You are the one who takes the decisions. You are the one who creates the future for yourself.
Hi, I'm Eric, and this is Poppin' In with Plynk. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Alejandra Rojas. I'm originally from Colombia, but I've been, traveling the world for the past 12 years, and I'm the founder of the Money Mindset Hub, which is a financial education platform for women of color in business looking for financial independence, where we look at financial trauma, money mindset, and all those stuff that nobody really talks about around money.
Yeah, your focus on women of color. What gaps did you see in financial education?
Oh my God, there are so many, starting from the way that we understand money, which is totally different from the financial education that some of us get. So women of color have priorities, like different priorities. We prioritize community, we prioritize family, we prioritize maybe our cousins, our parents over our well-being, and money goes that way. And nobody really understands how to get that into the financial literacy. So that's why you see high rates on credit cards, or financial literacy rates not really changing when they are putting in the effort to get more resources out. So it is more about cultural background and understanding where we lay in terms of how we relate to money, what makes it hard for financial education to help to bridge that gap.
Yes. What tips do you offer for women of color, and how it is that they can balance enjoying the life that they have today with their future financial goals?
Oh, such a good question. So basically, we have developed a whole framework that is called the Brown Framework to do this, because we look at financial literacy and the financial life as a 360 thing, coming from mindset, emotions, and as well financial trauma. So the tips and the tricks that we can give, it's all about understanding how that specific person understood money when she was growing up, and what is her vision. As a woman of color, we have not been encouraged enough to dream big, because when we do, we had consequences that don't favor us. So as you are growing up, they're telling you, well, keep in check your vision. And we tend to really dream very minimum, or just to be quote unquote grateful to what we have and not dream for more. So all of the tips that we give are related to, okay, let's push that, let's bring that big vision, and let's use the tools, the financial tools that we have, and put it all together so you can be financially independent, and what that means for you and for your community and your family.
Yeah. For women of color that may not know where to start, what tips do you have to offer to them?
Yes, first, go and listen to the Money Mindset Show, which is the podcast that I host, because these are weekly conversations that we are having with experts and women of color. The second tip is start talking about money, and start being curious about what else can you do with the money that you're receiving for today and for the future. Not only to, what can I do for next year, but what do you want to do in 3 years from now, in 5 years from now? Where do you want to stand? And start getting curious about that. And that will be the best ally that you will have. Because if you don't get yourself into the position of dreaming differently or visioning your life differently today, then in 2 years from now, you're going to be in the same exact loop. And we need to break that somehow.
Who are your financial influences?
There are so many different points of view of financial influences. My family has been a point for me. My great-grandpa never traveled outside of Colombia, but installed to me, go and travel the world. Do this for you and for your friends, for your family. Like, really, he was about pushing me to go more, like, from what we saw. But I think in the industry, seeing just like people like Rachel Rogers, like Beyonce, even Jennifer Lopez, a woman of color in business, all of that really brings you the piece of, I actually can do this. I actually can be on this path. And there is so many of wonderful women that I meet every single day that probably people don't know their names, but I know them to be a point of references for what I want to do.
Your family was a big financial influence for you. Having conversations with family about money and investing can be difficult for people.
Yes.
How do you encourage people to start that discussion in their families?
Oh, such a good question. Conversations about money are indeed difficult because they are often perceived as judgment. My biggest tip is to have an open conversation of understanding where you are coming from and where the other person is coming from. Instead of saying, I think you should do this or you should do that, just have the conversation and understand why do you think you are putting this topic on the table, and why do you think the other person is saying that point of view? Like, understand the reasons behind the conversation and see the root of it so that you can actually come up with a solution together, or actually come up with like, listen, I hear your point, but that's not what I want to do. But you understand the whole context, and you take decisions knowing exactly where you're gonna get to, right? So let's say, for example, about investing, it can be difficult to talk about, I'm deciding not to spend on this that I was used to, and then I'm gonna put my money on an investing app or to work for me, right? That conversation needs to be a thoughtful process of understanding what you want for you, to understand your thought process. And then when you communicate that with somebody else, let them know what your thought process is if that person influences you, and let them know why you're doing that. You will see how different that conversation will be, because nobody wants you to be, to go against what you want to do. They just want to understand why you're doing it, and then find the best way to support you on doing that.
When you're looking at an investment app, what features are you looking for?
Very simple, simplicity. That gives me the best return for my money, and that doesn't overcomplicate the process, the limited time that I have. I'm a mom of a 7-month-old, so I have like 20 minutes to do stuff. If I cannot get it done in those 20 minutes, then any app probably lost me. I needed to be efficient, and I needed to be, I need to trust the app. And the way that I trust the app is knowing exactly what they're gonna charge me, exactly how the process goes, and seeing how the reason why I started to use the app is like playing out on a daily basis.
You're really busy, and you're balancing your family life and your professional life. How do you keep up with financial information?
Every day I'm getting the notifications, the news. I also write for outlets, so it is my duty to know where the financial life is going. But mostly what I do is that I set a specific time. So in the mornings while my baby is taking the bottle, I am just scrolling and seeing, okay, what is happening? And those 15-20 minutes are my time to get to know where we are today. And then at the end of the night, or even if it is a day that I need to do pitches for media outlets, then I just go into all the newsletters, what is happening. And of course, podcasts. Podcast is, I think, my number one way to know from people, from real people, what is happening out there and how that relates to the news that I saw the morning before.
Talk to us about financial trauma. What does it mean to you, and how do people think about it when they're planning for their financial futures?
Yes, so financial trauma is that negative emotion that got trapped because of something that happened, you experienced or your family experienced, and they pass it down to you. For instance, if your parents got rejected for a loan for your college, that experience is going to be passed to you, and the way that they relate to money. So every negative emotion that you have with money, we consider financial trauma, whether you experience it firsthand or not. How that impacts the financial future of people is that financial trauma actually shapes the habits and the way people moves with money, and they don't even know it. So if today you look at your habits and you say, well, I'm spending a lot of money in things that I don't remember, I will invite you to look at it. why are you spending? And then you will find that the reason why you're doing that has to do somehow related to an experience that brought you to avoid to feel certain way, avoid to feel the negative emotion, the financial trauma, or to push you a little bit forward to feel something like the dopamine, right? That financial trauma push you away when it happened. So it really shapes everything with money. You cannot change overnight your financial behavior. Like if you take the decision today of, oh, I'm going to invest, it is important to know that if you want to do that, but you cannot get yourself to do that, it is not because you're lacking motivation. It is not because you're lacking the knowing how to do it. It is because there is an underlying thing that we call financial trauma that is shaping that behavior, and it is important to address it. It's just to get you to understand that that was an event that happened back then, and that doesn't have to interrupt your vision and your habits right now. But if not, if you don't do that, then the loop will continue. So it is really about how I see it, it's really about the things that shape what we cannot perceive in a conscious way, how we manage money, and that inevitably affects your financial future.
For somebody who's experiencing financial trauma and wants to learn more, are there other resources that they should be reading or listening to help them on that journey?
Yes, The Psychology of Money. It's a great book. I think everybody, regardless, should read it. It's a great book that really helps you to understand that money is way more than just these bank account numbers and transactional thing. It actually has psychological and emotional triggers, and that's where the financial trauma resides. The other things, again, start talking about money, because when you don't talk about money, you think that this is something that it is just about you, that you are the person that is bad with money, that you are the person that always makes the mistakes, that you are the person that cannot get herself or himself to invest. And it's not. It's something that happened that is shaping subconsciously the way that you are interacting with money. And when you talk about money, you understand, oh, I wasn't the only one. This person solved it that way, and that's a way to shift that situation.
The initial impulse may be to spend money.
Yeah.
How do you balance that impulse with planning for future financial goals?
I believe that when you shift your mindset to understand that money is a resource that supports you today and is there to support you in the future, then the planning becomes easier. So the impulse really enters when you don't have a plan and when you are not aware of your financial habits. But if you make that shift of understanding or asking yourself, how is my money really serving me now, and how is going to serve me, like with certainty, how do I know that it's going to serve me in 5 years from now? And you start planning from that way, it is so different the way that you go about planning. And the combination of having a plan in hand, having the tools to do it, but also understanding that your money should serve you today, tomorrow, and in the future, it is a good leg to go from there. And another thing I will add is that planning is not something that comes easily just by saying, I'm just gonna sit down and plan. You gotta do it, and you gotta try. It's just a muscle that you train. You gotta start doing it and say, okay, the first one sucks, the second one too, the third one also sucks, but now I'm getting into the rhythm of doing it, and then getting into the habit of just putting automatically savings into your investment or just putting aside, like I love just to automatize everything because I just don't have time, and getting to the habit to do that, supporting your planning.
Some people may find starting planning to be very daunting.
Yeah.
What tips do you have for those people to start their own financial planning?
Right, flip it. Don't plan the money, plan the activities and how you want your life to be. So if today you're planning, oh, I'm getting $500 per month, how I'm going to spend the money, you're already cutting yourself short and you're already getting to the boring part of planning. But if you start planning your life, what activities, experiences, things that you want to have, and start assigning resources to those activities and experiences, you are going to find that it's much easier, because we all want to do things and we all want to experience some stuff. We just need to put it down and assign resources to that. And if those activities and experiences you are, walking and achieving them, you will see that that will give an extra motivation for you to continue planning and seeing kind of like, oh, I said I wanted to do this and I did it, so let's try again.
On your platform, you help people achieve financial freedom and financial independence. What do those terms mean to you?
That's a good question. Financial independence to me means being free to have an option to do what you want to do. And that freedom comes mental freedom, emotional freedom, and of course the money strategic freedom to choose whatever you want to do. If today I want to just stay in bed because I'm super tired, I can choose to do that without any guilt, shame, or a worry of I need to wake up and go to work because this is what I have to do. So to me, that is financial independence. And financial freedom, kind of like, it goes together, but one comes before the other one. Independence is when you can see it and you have the number, and we have all of this fire and stuff, right? But freedom is understanding that you are the one in control of money and not all the way around. You are the one who takes the decisions. You are the one who creates the future for yourself, and you understand how to use money for that and not all the way around.
Were there any aha moments that made you fall in love with investing and realize that this is what you wanted to do?
Yes. So with investment, I was, I think, in my second semester of college going through the first time I invest. And I saw how incredibly interesting it was to know that I was working for something that would work for me. The moment I realized that, I was like, okay, so I'm just a passing through of this resource that I'm going to put to work for me later on. And I just fell in love with the idea. Investing through apps, investing in the stock market, but also investing in real estate. Also like all kind of investment, even in my business, understanding that what I'm doing today, it is going to work for me in the future, is something that it's mind-blowing to me. And that's what really attracts me to learn any way to invest nowadays.
Do you have any takeaways from your growth as a content creator?
Yes. First, it's going to take time. It is going to take as long as it needs to take. And the really key point is to be authentic to yourself and to who you want to serve. So in my case, it's women of color in business, and part of the financial independence framework that I teach is owning your voice, because that is really everything that we have. And we are not encouraged enough to own our voice and what we stand for and just share it with the world. We often as a creators start thinking, oh, well, what my audience wants, what my audience is looking for, but do you even know what you can offer to your audience and how you can stand behind that message so later on you can connect with your audience? I think it's a balance, and that can take a lot of time for you to find that balance. So just cut the crap and really go inside of you and think, what do you want to share? Why do you want to share it? What is the vision that you have for your audience, for your customer? And start sharing it from that perspective. And of course, understand what they are looking for from that message, but don't skip the way that you relate to your own content, because that is what really gets you to connect, to sell, to grow.
To continue your financial journey, download the Plynk app.